As I was just saying, the game is over. The Rebels have won. I'm Paul John Dykes. This is the Acsom post-match bulletin. And today I'm joined by Kevin McCluskey, Liam Carrigan and Lawrence Conley for the big one. Lawrence, we did it.
Never in doubt, mate. Never in doubt. They were never going to out-football us. They showed a bit of fight, but let's be honest, they couldn't really live us in terms of football. You know, we got 3-1 ahead. We should have made the change a wee bit earlier then and just closed it out. This was their everything for the season. They had to win, mate. And, you know, they were fighting for everything and they still come up short.
The way I see it, Liam, I'm not a tactical genius by any stretch of the imagination, but I think it all came down to shape. We spoke at half-time. Many of the commenters agreed with us. Moy wasn't at the races today. Doesn't make him a bad player. Circumstances were that he's just been thrown back in. You take him off and bring on a Water, and we get our noses in front. Then we take control of the game at 3-1. At that point, we change shape with a couple of changes. They come back into it. We then go back to our recognised shape, and we see the game out. Liam, is it as simple as that?
Probably yes. I really do think it is. The only time we looked vulnerable at any point in that game was when the formation was in flux, if you like.
Yeah, aye.
So, yeah, I really do think that that's a lesson we need to carry forward now, is stick to the, switch out personnel, but we need to try and keep the shape the same. I mean, I noticed as well, like towards the end, that breakaway chance that O had, where he cut it back, he tried to cut it back, but there was nobody else there. And it's like, I'm thinking, has he mentally forgot that Kyogo's not in the park anymore? It's like, because that's exactly where Kyogo should be if he was still on the park,
Yeah, I mean, as I say, Kevin, at half-time, I don't think we were panicking. There was a bit of stuffing knocked out of us because of the timing of the Rangers equaliser. But I think we were all in agreement. I mean, Lawrence would have started with a Water. And by the way, with hindsight, when you see the performance of Moy, you tend to agree with that. Before the game, I saw it as a bit of a risk. But when a Water comes on, there's a coolness, there's a composure that we've been talking about. And I know he's only had the one start, but he showed that today in the biggest game he's going to play in domestic football.
He's impressed every game that he's played so far, Iwata, and you can see why he was voted or awarded the most valuable player in the J League last season. He's a class player. He's definitely got it. I went with Moy in my team for this game, and I would stick by the decision to go with him to start. Based on, I'm thinking Ange is only playing him if he's fit enough to play, and if he believes he's shown enough in training that he's able to play in that game. Because we know that Moy, on his day, is a fantastic player. He wasn't on his day today. He was miles off the pace. He should probably have come off at half-time, if we're being honest, because he just looked off it. But yeah, once Iwata comes on, he did what I thought Moy would do in that sense, and that he was that calming influence. He was giving the ball away a lot less than Moy did in the first 45 minutes. And he gave us that bit more of a base in the midfield to develop our attacks from. So yeah, I mean, I'm still going to say I'm taking the risk on Moy to start with, but again, what a player you've got to come off the bench. And that's something that Ange was commenting on again in his pre-match was, first 11 has to be strong, but he also thinks about the 11 that ends the game. Mm-hmm. So if you're able to go in and identify that one of our players isn't playing well, we're bringing on another player, the quality level at worst isn't going to drop, and there's a good chance it's going to increase. It definitely boosts your chances of winning a game, and Iwata was a big influence in helping us do that in the second half.
You're spot on. I mean, I think at half-time, we try our best not to be harsh on any individual. And at half-time, we spoke about Moy, but it was really clear, even on the 46th minute, Lawrence, that he was kind of dying on his feet. He gave away a really cheap foul and got booked for it. And you're looking at him at that stage thinking, if you're going to hook somebody at half-time, it could be detrimental to the individual. But it wasn't until Iwata came on, the ball you would have started, incidentally, it wasn't until he came on that I think we started to get a foothold back in the game, Lawrence.
Yeah, I think once Iwata came on, we got control in the midfield, didn't we? You can see why he was the best player in Japan.
I've written this down, Lawrence. I wrote this down when he came on. Have we now got control of the midfield? Question for Lawrence.
Yes, mate. Listen, I think we did. Listen, I'm happy Moy gave away that free kick, or got booked, because he should have stood up better to the challenges. Maybe a bit tired, but at that point, they're on the break. It's a decent yellow card to give away, I thought. And I thought it was Bernabe on the break that was squaring it then, not O.
Yeah, it was Bernabe.
Yeah, it was.
Come on, if you can do it against Hearts, if you can do it against Hearts, surely they should be putting the laces through that. But Awata looked great, and I think the one player we had concerns about in the midfield was Matt Riley. I think it was a poor free kick to give away first half, but outside of that, I thought he had a great game for us.
He did. And at half time we were talking about that as well. I know this wasn't specifically down to Awata, but you look at the change, 60 minutes, Awata comes on, 61 minutes, Kyogo gets us 2-1 ahead. But he certainly did. And right up to the 3-1, I thought we were, I'm not going to say cruising it, because it's almost as if you're becoming complacent there, but we looked in control of the game between, going 2-1 and 3-1 up. And then we very quickly made that double change, which changed the shape, and as Liam says, we were in a kind of state of flux. 5 minutes later we lose the goal and it becomes a bit edgy again. Ridiculizer, I'm going to bring this up because it's a fantastic win for Celtic. There's no coming back from this for Rangers. 12 points ahead, superior goal difference. Celtic are going to win this league, and sometimes it is important, even in times like this, to have a look at some of the decisions that were made. Barisic with the rear naked choke on Haksabanovic. There was a lot of really bizarre decisions today, I think, from the officials. I don't want to labour it, but it was a really poor performance by them, Kevin.
Yeah, it's one of those ones, again, like, we've just won the game, so I don't really want to talk about the officials too much either. Unfortunately, at times they make us... I think Clancy lost it when he booked Carter Vickers right at the start, because that kind of laid down a marker of what was and what was not going to be a yellow card in this game. Mm-hmm. It was a rash challenge by Carter Vickers, but I agreed with what Lawrence was saying at half-time. I'm not sure he actually made contact or meaningful contact with Morelos, and he's gone down knowing that if he goes down clutching his ankle or whatever, he's going to get a yellow card. And they did that a few times in the game. A few kind of non-challenges, they're going down, trying to get yellows. There was one, I think, with McGregor shortly after Carter Vickers' yellow card, and there McGregor is running 40 yards down the pitch to try and get a yellow card to him. So I think they were at it all game. Mm-hmm. But yeah, because of that one, then there was a few challenges that's gone in that he's then had to award yellow cards for. The one, the double booking on McGregor and Raskin was a joke. If anything, and again, Lawrence pointed this one out, Raskin's motioned his head towards McGregor twice in that together. It doesn't really make contact. It's not what you're going to class as a headbutt, but that's the instigator behind all of that. And McGregor's booking is one of those ones just to even it up, I think, and that coming together. But yeah, a few of the challenges that then came in later on that were a bit rash, a bit harsh. And Taylor got some treatment in the game. McGregor did. Really only going the one way for a while, because I think there was a point where we were sitting at 4 or 5 yellows. Maybe only made 4 or 5 fouls, and they weren't all yellow card offences. So yeah, not the best refereeing performance. But then I think again, Liam pointed it out at half time as well. We might have got away with one with Morelos' goal.
I was going to ask you to. Have you watched it back yet?
I've watched it back, and I still think if it happens at the other end, we're claiming for a goal, and that's where I think we've gotten away with it. There's definitely shot tugging in the both of them. The last action is a push by Morelos on Johnston, but if that's up at the other end and it goes against us, I think we're going to be upset.
Right.
So I think we got off with that one.
Lawrence and I were obviously in agreement at half time. Kevin's not changed his mind. Liam, have you changed your mind on that Morelos goal? It was chopped off.
Yeah, because to hell with that
3-1
wee rat. What I think, having watched it back, is I have a clearer understanding now of why the decision was given. But I do think it is one of those that can go either way. especially given how inconsistent the referee was with enforcing things throughout the entire match. The one thing which struck me, I don't want to dwell on it, but to talk about the referee for a second, the one thing which really stuck out to me, which I'm sure you guys picked up on as well, was the difference in the referee's body language when he was talking to different players, right? When Rangers players were surrounding him, or when Alan McGregor ran 40 yards for his goal to demand somebody get carded, the ref was like, okay guys, calm down, it's all right, I'll handle it, calm down. He's talking to them very kind of diplomatically. When a Celtic player does the same thing, he's like, right, you go, and he's motioning to them like the kind of school headmaster approach, and I'm like, how do people not see this and just be like, there's obviously something no right here, you know?
No, it's a good point. It really is a good point. And that McGregor one as well, that was just embarrassing. I mean, when the decision was made against Morelos, I had the misfortune, I actually had two commentaries running at the same time because the Celtic TV one was running on time and I was watching it on a different broadcaster, let's just say. And they were going on about how embarrassing the decision was to chop the goal off. I think there was a lot more embarrassing about Alan McGregor's get up. The boots had to go with the kit as well, and also that 40-yard sprint to try and get somebody booked, Liam. That was a wee bit more embarrassing for me from a professional footballer that we keep getting reminded has played 500 games for the same club. I'll tell you, he's played some amount of games every single season in the last few years then, I'll tell you that much. Now, let's talk about the goals, okay? Because it's got to be positive. We'll go 2-1 up after an hour. Lawrence Conley, Kyogo, 28th goal of the season. Jota, though, was the architect of that chance, wasn't he?
Yeah, listen, Kyogo, we know he's lethal. Rangers might look and say it was a couple of mistakes, gave us a couple of their goals, but noses in front again. It's what we expect from Kyogo, isn't it? We expect goals from him. But I've probably changed my mind on that Morelos goal, though, mate. Because, he raised his hands and shoved him. That's what Cal McGregor got a yellow card for.
That's true.
Where's your consistency there? If it's a yellow card for pushing, is it a yellow card for pushing? Apparently not. But the Haksabanovic, arm round somebody's neck, no booking. And there was non-existent free kicks getting given. And throw-ins, it was patently coming off. Sometimes, we got a throw and it wasn't ours, but more often than not, you're going, that's a corner or a throw to us, or there's just not a free kick there. So I thought, he's been down on his knees, the ball's hit off him, and they've given a free kick. Well, for what? Well, what are you giving a free kick? The ball's played off him.
There's the one. So I was going to say, there's the one with Jota in the second half when he's sliding in to make the challenge and the ball comes off his chest. And he's given us a handball. Now, there was so many times when we were wanting to take a quick goal kick that they stopped the play to have a VAR check on something that didn't happen. Why can they not have a VAR check on that incident? Again, it seems to be the inconsistencies of when they even want to apply VAR, when they want to use it. I thought it was for clear and obvious. And what they're using it for is, was this a corner? Was this a goal kick? Basically, can we just frustrate Celtic and slow down an attack?
Yeah, absolutely.
So one thing the ref didn't do, they were pressing quite well today. But when we had a free kick, they would have Tillman standing 3 or 4 yards away. The ref's not telling him to go back. It's not booking him for not retreating back to 10 yards. So, the press is further on top. He's closing the options out for us. And the ref should be having a word with him and saying, look, so if you don't get back, you're going to get a card here. But he just kind of let that go throughout the game. But, I think our third goal probably shows McGregor's finished as a keeper. Oof, he was towing a caravan trying to get there, wasn't he?
He was. He definitely was. I mean, when you look at the contribution of Kyogo last season, and I know that Liam was more aware than most about this player before he came to Celtic Park, his contribution last season was phenomenal, and I think he probably missed the equivalent of about 3 months throughout the season. This campaign, he's had more of a run of it, and he's got 28 goals. He's not allowed the World Cup disappointment to affect his performance or his approach to the games. He could easily have scored a hat-trick today. There was a couple of other occasions where you thought he might have scored as well. But at that point, Liam, that kind of player you need at that stage to get your nose back in front. It completely changed the dynamic of where we were with this game. If you compare the mood at half-time to when Kyogo scores that, because the minute he scores that goal, Liam, you're thinking, we're winning this. We are not going to lose this game.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is as well to look at the goal specifically. Now, you can talk about the Rangers defender making the mistake, whatever, but when Kyogo gets that ball, there's still 2 defenders and a goalkeeper between him and the goal. That, and he doesn't have that much time to think about it. Literally, the ball comes to him and he just smashes it into the net without even thinking about it. And, that is the mark of a truly great striker. It's just like, it's instinctive. He doesn't have to trap the ball or take a touch. I think it's just like, there's the goal, bang, in you go, that'll do. That is the class that he has, and it's just such a joy to watch. He really is just such a joy to watch as a player. But thinking about the 2 goals, have you ever seen a match where both centre backs have sold the jersey in the same game? 'Cause I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Yeah, I know. And by the way, it's one thing making that mistake, but as you say, Liam, you've got to be as decisive and clinical as Kyogo was. We spoke a few weeks ago, Kevin. You do many of the match day bulletins, and we were speaking about where can he take this as an individual? Where can he take his goals tally this season? At 28, you would think he's probably looking at 35 as a kind of benchmark, and it's been a long time since a Celtic player scored as many goals as 35 in a season.
And he's got, let's say, 9 games left, 7 in the league, 2 in the cup. I know he could definitely get there. He'll hit 30 for sure. And 35 is not a unrealistic target. But I'm going to take a little moment to kind of blow my own trumpet or whatever you want to say on this one, because in the pre-match, when we're going through their team, I've said I don't fancy their centre backs. Both of them, Davis and Suter, and they're both at fault for the goals. I don't get many things right when I do these shows, so when I do, I want to.
You've got to highlight them. You've got to highlight them, Kevin.
Exactly. This is my highlight reel. That one moment, I think, is it. But
superb.
The 2 of them, I thought, as much as folk will have a go at Starfelt, and he does generally make at least one hairy moment in a game, one mistake in a game. He was good today, I'll be fair. I don't think he did. But as much as people will have a go at him, you look at those 2, and if that's the performances they're putting in, kind of week in, week out, I know Suter only played his 2nd game, but if that's what Davis is doing week in, week out, then
thank God we didn't sign him.
Exactly, And there was the big thing that we really should have got him, that he was one that got away. I think we've dodged a bullet with that one, because his reaction to that 2nd goal it's comical. He's got 2 chances to clear it, or he's got 1 chance to clear it and another to shepherd the ball out for a corner kick, which kills the danger. Then said he's just made an absolute meal of it. Sorry, and you go.
The thing is, as well, spends half the day looking at his hair and fixing his hair. Unless you're like Paolo Maldini and you've got a wee hairband or something, it's just constant. And that would frustrate the life out of me if you've just sold the jerseys as well. Jota, talking the hair, we'll get to Jota as well. But before we do that, Kevin, I think you raised a really good point about Starfelt, right? How many times after the game, just a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about the performance, and I had to mention, but Starfelt had a wee moment of madness where he's made 2 mistakes. I'll come to you first, Lawrence. Starfelt, let's talk about his performance. It's probably going to go under the radar, but he was pretty solid today, Carl Starfelt.
Solid, yet again. It's the exception to the rule when he makes a mistake. I think he's a cracking player. I think it takes an undue amount of abuse. And him and Carter Vickers are probably the rock upon which Celtic are built at the moment. They are brilliant at the back for us. Carter Vickers was the slacker of the 2 today, I would say, with some passing and. But,
unusually. Yep.
Carl Starfelt had to bail him out. Remember, he was short with the back pass. But yeah, another cracking performance for Starfelt. And I know the press like to have a go at Celtic centre halves. It seems to be a perennial subject for them. How we've got one of our centre halves is a bomb scare. More often than not, it's just not true. They make a mistake. They're playing in the SPL, for a reason. But he's a decent centre half, and I think we'll do well. We hold on to him this summer.
He's one of the players, Liam, that there's a lot of talk about him when he's maybe made a mistake. So I think Johnny Ryan comes in and makes a very good point. Let's talk about him when he plays well. So well, in fact, that his performance probably goes under the radar a lot of the time.
Aye, I mean, defenders and goalkeepers as well are a bit like that in the sense that often the fact that you haven't really noticed them means they've had a good game. I mean, another thing which we're kind of forgetting about is Joe Hart makes a superb save from Morelos at 1 each.
He does, yeah.
If that goes in, the game could be completely different. Because they had that wee 5 minutes at the start of the second half where they were kind of having a right go at us. And that save was crucial in turning that tide. But yeah, Starfelt was excellent today. Like Lauren says, I think he had a better game than Carter Vickers did. But Alistair Johnson was man of the match for me. He was just into everything today, flying into every tackle, fearless, fighting for every ball, chasing things down. He was everywhere. He was just unplayable today.
Oh, he was frighteningly good.
Liam, when I grow up, I want to be Alistair Johnson. That's just how good he is.
The other week there, I said he was my man of the match, and I'm going to say he was my man of the match again today. Lane R, AJ, an absolutely 10 out of 10. Looking forward to seeing more of Awata. Yeah, you know, Lawrence wanted him to start. He comes in and looks so composed that it's hard to argue with that now, certainly. John Sweeney, we made it hard for ourselves. The reason I'm bringing this up, right, we did make it hard for ourselves. We got the 3 points and champions again. I think it also shows, right, things weren't really going to plan. But we had enough in terms of the ingenuity, we had enough in terms of the quality on the bench, and we had enough with regards to Ange Postecoglou being able to identify, Kevin, this isn't working, let's change it again. Now, our previous manager, right, never ever did that. If things weren't working, it was like, right, let's just hope it just works out itself. Ange Postecoglou identified very quickly when he made the 2 changes, when he brought on but kept Kyogo in the park, understandably, because the wee guy's going for a hat-trick and he's having a great game, right? But the shape was completely wrong at that stage. So he changes it back, and then we get back into our groove. So it's about being able to adapt in-game, Kevin. The in-game management was key today.
And it has been since Ange took over. It's one of his key strengths, I think. It was something that we spoke about when he first came in that was said to be lacking, I think, in what he was doing. That was because he didn't have the personnel. Now he's got his players in, he's got the squad together, and you just see the little tweaks that he makes every now and again that just turn the game in our favour.
Yeah.
You know, the guy that he replaced, his change would have been to switch the wingers, and that would have been it. And then just hope that something worked. Ange makes his changes, makes a personnel change and keeps things the same because he's taken off an underperforming player and bringing on someone that he knows is going to give us that extra few percent and take us forward again. I think he made the right change actually with his formation change at the time when he kept Kyogo on because they were there for the taking, and that gave us a bit more attacking impetus on the pitch at the time. It didn't work in hindsight, and as soon as Ange notices that it doesn't, he changes it back. He gets us back to that steady shape that we know, and we've closed the game out. And he does that time and time again. He just makes subtle little changes here and there, or in some cases, bigger changes like that one. But his ability to manage a game is second to none at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, we've been hearing from Jared, Liam, your co-presenter on Celtic Down Under, how he has been known to play a formation that looks like that, the 4-2-2-2 formation. And that's what it looked like here. But at the time, like Kevin says, you're no moaning at the time. You're thinking, all right, we're comfortable enough to do this. But then it doesn't work. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But then it doesn't work, and he changes it. I mean, that adaptability is key. He's not digging his heels and thinking, no, I'm right. I've not made the wrong choice here.
That's the thing about Ange, which I think it makes him different from previous Celtic managers of recent years. Because I think it's not just a Neil Lennon problem. I think it was a Brendan Rodgers problem as well. The idea that, like, I know what I'm doing. This is my way. That's it, right? But you know, Ange is humble enough to say, right, I'm going to try this. No working, right, I'll try something else. And he's got the humility to actually say, okay, I made the wrong call there. At the end of the day, when he kept Kyogo on, we all agreed that was the right thing to do. But ultimately, as Kevin says, it didn't quite work out the way we wanted it to. But I think that it's going to be interesting because tomorrow, you know that the headlines in the papers are all going to be, 3-2, it's only one goal in it. Rangers are closing the gap.
Yeah.
No, right? Let's look at it the other way. Celtic did not play the way we did not play anywhere near our peak. We played well today, but we didn't play anywhere near our peak, right? Rangers played as well as they can with that squad, and 3-2 does not tell the true story of the game, right? We should have scored more goals today. We should have beaten them by more than one, and the gap is as big as it's ever been, and it's only going to get bigger because they are a shambles. They are an absolute shambles.
I would say I think they'll take a lot of heart for that for them semi-final because the last 2 games there's only been a goal in it, and I get that we gave away 2 cheap goals today. An overload in the back post should never happen. I don't even know if it's a free kick, but anyway, that's their second, and then cheap free kick for the first. But they showed a lot more fight than I thought they had in them. But that's probably as well as I've seen them play, and as poor as I've seen us play. And
that's the thing, though, just to counteract that, right? I think it goes the other way because they've laid it all out on the pitch today, and it still wasn't enough. So that can mentally destroy you as well,
Yeah, I think
they've done it twice now. So that's the last 2 games against them that they've given it everything, and they've played as well as they can possibly play in both of those games. And at the end of it, we've come out and won, and we've won a cup final, which stopped any momentum swing to go their way, and we've basically won the league today as well, which kills them. It must do.
It does. But you know what? I'm going to play devil's advocate here because there's nothing that Lawrence and I like better than a wee ding dong, and there are genuine disagreements. But a wee note of caution, I think, is what Lawrence is saying here because we do have the big cup game coming up, and it is. When you look at the 3, I think this game, the cup final, and the 2 each game, we weren't at our best, absolutely not. And I agree with you, Liam. I think they put everything out there on that park today. It was their maximum. However, all it takes in that cup game is for one little decision to not go your way, like the Morelos goal, for example, and we're having a completely different discussion. But yeah, fair play, Lawrence. You and I are not going to have an argument at full time. I think that's a good point.
Not today.
Not today, anyway. I'm sure it will happen at some point between now and the end of the season. Vincey 3, that was hard work. Yeah, it was. But I think what we're trying to do is give Ange the credit that he deserves for being able to identify when things weren't working and to completely change them around again. Scott Mason, sketchy performance.
As Liam said, we were still creating more chances. Bernabe should hit that. We've got a couple other chances.
I know.
The second goal we give away is really, really slack by us.
It's really poor at the back post. Yeah, definitely.
Really poor, really unlike us. Came from Johnson's position, but someone should have been back there helping him out. They overloaded the back post. But, it's 3 points, isn't it? The league's over.
Yeah, definitely. But the result was the important thing. Championi, says Scott Mason. No, you're right to make that point. Bernabe scores that 4th goal, and we're sitting here and we're feeling probably a wee bit even more buoyant than we already are. And the score line probably reflects the amount of chances that we had as well. And we've also got to remember Dermo, Celtic, Rabbitoh, 12 points clear in the league and 3 points ahead in the Beale Cup. Go the boys. Well pointed out as well.
That's not a South Sydney Beale Cup. It's Mickey Beale's in his head cup because Dermot's in Sydney.
Oh, there you go then. There was that Sydney Cup game as well that didn't happen against them. 3-1. We need to talk about Jota because I think there's a lot of talk around leading up to this game about a different side to Jota. He's a very entertaining player, great to watch. He's got all the skills. And what we had been saying, Liam, is that there was another element to his game where it was rolling the sleeves up. And by the way, brilliant to see a guy actually wearing a long sleeve jersey like yourself, Liam, in the modern game. Normally they wear the Under Armour things, but he wears a long sleeve jersey, which I love, being a bit of a traditionalist. And he showed a wee bit more of that fight. Coming into a game when he's maybe not playing that well, but still being able to get the goals for us, etc. And then all the talk going into this game about Jota on the wing and all the rest of it. What actually matters is he got the 3rd goal. And what a finish, by the way. That, again, like Liam, Lawrence rather said earlier on, it was almost as if McGregor was just giving up the ghost at that point. However, what an angle. Jota still had to negotiate to get the ball in the net, and I thought it was tremendous, as was his celebration, Liam.
Oh yeah. I mean, again, similar to the Kyogo goal, he does brilliant to make the run, get by the keeper. He's still got a hell of a lot to do to make that a goal. I mean, we watch it back in real time. You think, oh, that's a tap in, but the angle he's at, the speed he's going at, it takes a player of genuine quality to pull that off, and he did. And the celebration is just, well, it's already an iconic image, isn't it? And it's going to be, I'll bet that the Celtic marketing department are making up the prints of it to sell in the shop on Monday morning as we speak.
That will be available in the penalty spot on Sword Street.
You're only half joking. Aye, definitely. But yeah, let's talk a wee bit about Jota, Kevin McCluskey. I mean, I thought that there was a moment in the first half that I thought, right, he's up for this today. There was 2 occasions where he's had decent enough chances, or shots at goal rather. And they seen him as a danger. You can tell that every team is going to see him as a danger. But he done enough for me today, and he scores that vital third goal to get our noses a wee bit in front that we needed at that time.
I thought Jota had a really good game today. I know there was a few comments that had come in kind of saying he was maybe quiet in the first half, but that was probably more down to him just not getting the ball enough rather than him being quiet when he had it, because every time he got the ball he looked like he was going to do something. He'd beat and embarrass it, whether he was going down the line or whether he was cutting in field. They were doubling up on him at times, which was giving extra space to somebody like Johnston to get in the overlap. He was causing them real problems. And then in the second half, I felt he just stepped up another level again. His involvement in the second goal is incredible. I think it's his cross in the first place. It's not dealt with. Then he's the one that goes and puts the pressure on Davis and forces the error. And that can't be underestimated either. Because I think if he doesn't go in and follow that up, Davis probably does just let it go and it's a corner and the chance is gone. But he's in there, he's putting the pressure on, forces the mistake. What a finish by Kyogo. Like Liam said, it's just like there's not a thought process behind that one. Or if it is, it's all done in like at the blink of an eye. It's the ball's there and I'm scoring. And he does. And then the third goal as well, just that's a predator that's in there, because he's just waiting for the mistake. And Suter just hands it to him on a plate. It's a terrible pass. He doesn't even look to see that Jota's there. And again, as Liam's just said, he's got so much work to do still. When he gets there, he takes it around the keeper. It's such a tight angle. It's like Larsson's 50th goal of the season at Ibrox that time. The angle's so tight and he's got to get it just right. And he does. This was his game, I think. He's maybe not run the game in that kind of showboaty manner or the exhibitionist way that he sometimes does, where he's flicks and tricks and dominates the game that way. But if you look back at the key incidents, the key attacking incidents from a Celtic point of view, you'll find that he's there or thereabouts in every single one of them. And that's what he brings. And he brings now a bit more mental toughness, but also physical toughness, I think, to his game that he didn't have before. And he's becoming, over the last few months, just such an all-round attacking threat for us.
Yeah, an all-round better player as a result of it, Kevin. Yeah. Absolutely. People don't like talking about winning things until the trophy's in your hands, Lawrence. But, the title for me is in Celtic's hands, and now we just push on to win, hopefully, a treble now this season. That's going to be a massive... Listen, nobody's taking anything for granted, Lawrence. The talk all week, like what Liam says, is going to be about how close they are. It was only 3-2. What if Morelos had scored and all this kind of stuff. But I think when you look at it... I bet they have.
Tavernier claiming it was a handball, the build-up to Celtic's goal. The pictures clearly show there wasn't. It's an assist by Jota, but he's trying to clear it was off Jota's hand. Deluded doesn't cover it. They've obviously went in and thought we need to come out with a story why we get beat. Oh, mythical handball. And listen, I think brilliant goal came from Jota, and he's retired McGregor as a keeper. Don't know why McGregor doesn't even dive in and try and get it ball, but it looked like he's towing a caravan. He's retired, he's finished after that. Mate, that's ridiculous attempt to try and keep that ball out. The league's over. It's ticking off games, but we've been ticking off games since Christmas.
Aye. You know, there's a delicious irony to it, though, isn't it? That on Easter weekend, two Rangers centre backs are going to get absolutely crucified tomorrow at the press.
Listen, that's the best way to finish it. We're 12 points ahead. We're going to win the league, and it's all great in the Acsom camp. I'll tell you one last thing. If you do fancy winning this, we were talking about Joe Hart earlier. This is a signed and framed Joe Hart jersey. You will be put into the prize draw simply by buying a ticket to come and see John Hartson with a Celtic State of Mind at the end of this month. Tickets are underneath this video. So come along, get involved in the Acsom live experience. Big Lawrence will be there. Quite a few of us will be there. I'll be on the stage talking to the big man himself. And that's going to be a bit of a weekend because that is the semi-final weekend. And that's the Saturday night, semi-final being on the Sunday. So simply by buying a ticket, you're in the prize draw. Why not do that tonight while we're celebrating? Listen, 1,100 strong on the live stream, both at halftime and at full time. Sorry I didn't get through more of your comments, but we do appreciate every single one of them. Go out and have a great night, every single one of you. Thank you to Kevin, Liam and Lawrence for joining me on A Celtic State of Mind.